See. All right, bet. Cool. All right. All right. Welcome back, fellow gamers and sports fans, to another Sports Gaming Anonymous podcast. I am Henri, aka No, It's Not Henry, aka Re, aka Flash Extreme.
All right, here we go.
And I got the crew with me here today.
Wow.
I got Courtney here. We're live on scene here together. We got Lance in the building, Jordan, and C. What's up, fellas?
What up?
Cool. So today we're going to kick things off with some sports news and kind of some ongoing sports news. We'll get into a little Ezekiel Elliott, who is still holding out. I've lost count of the days at this point, something like 4 or 5, something like that.
He had to Mexico.
we've lost count. Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing, Ezekiel Elliott's been holding out. He wants a new contract. This is the problem that we're gonna start running into, especially with running backs. Guys outplay their contracts, and they feel like they're worth more than what they're currently being paid, especially guys that are stuck on those rookie deals. Now, the problem that we're gonna run into in here going forward is that with running backs, the shelf life is a lot shorter, right? So Zeke is getting one more big contract, and that's probably gonna be it, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to hold him necessarily for being 2 years out for his contract expiring to say he wants a new deal, because you got to look at it from a running back's perspective. Like, okay, you've got me here. I've outperformed my contract. I've led the league in rushing 2 to 3 years I've been in the league. It would have been 3 years if he didn't miss 6 games? Yeah. He would have led the league in rushing all 3 years he's been in the league. So he's outperformed his contract. He's worth the money. But again, the problem is, the new consensus is you don't need an elite running back to win a chip, right? But the problem is what they tell you is you need an elite quarterback, right? So you look at the teams that have the elite quarterbacks. You look at Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, right? You look at these teams, they don't have elite running backs. They got decent running backs at best. They just kind of running back by committee and make it work.
Big Nick.
Right. The Eagles, the Seahawks, teams with these good quarterbacks, they don't necessarily have these elite running backs. Of course, the Steelers were kind of an exception, but Ben won before Le'Veon got there, right? And who was there before Le'Veon was there? Who can you even name the Pittsburgh running backs when those couple years,
Jerome Bettis?
Yeah, right. Bettis.
D'Angelo Williams. No, he was in the Panthers before that, so
that's what I'm saying. So it's like either. And when we look at Dallas, though, Dallas has built their team to run the ball. They've spent high draft picks on offensive linemen. They've got, those guys have kind of started to fall off a little bit because of injury, but you're looking at these guys, they had elite offensive linemen. They went and drafted Ezekiel Elliott 4th overall. So you're telling everybody that you're trying to run the ball. So you're not necessarily putting everything on your quarterback's shoulders. Y'all want to run the ball, and you're not trying to hide it. So you clearly value your running back as a vital part of your offense. So
they've always ran the ball, man.
You've paid your offensive lineman. You've paid your big-time pass rusher, DeMarcus Lawrence. You're getting ready to pay Dak. Let's not pretend like they're not going to pay Dak because he's on that rookie deal.
And Amari Cooper.
He's getting paid nothing. Okay? But everybody has shown up to camp. Everybody's shown up to play. And minus Ezekiel Elliott. So, I don't know. Tell Courtney, what do you think? You here. How do you
I personally really think that, it's tough for me, especially being an Eagles fan and having, I guess you would say, elite running backs are close to. We consider Brian Westbrook an elite running back.
I mean, that was a century ago, but I mean, I don't know about elite, but he was serviceable.
I don't think he was above average, but he wasn't elite. He wasn't elite.
Above average. Good
okay.
Elite back then to me would be like LaDainian Tomlinson was elite back then.
Oh yeah.
Not Westbrook. Not Westbrook though, but that's what I'm saying. That's 2 different tiers. I mean, Westbrook is not LaDainian Tomlinson. Then LaDainian Tomlinson was elite.
Yeah. So then just from based off experience alone and the times that we have been to the NFC Championship game and then just most recently winning the Super Bowl, we did not have an elite running back on our roster. And the closest we've had since, I mean, I guess maybe before he got to us, DeMarco Murray is
right. I
before
mean,
he got to us. I mean, at that point, he was a leading rusher in the league, and then he came to us, and you know, the Chip Kelly fiasco and all of those other things happened. But
he's racist.
Horrible fit.
Let's feed into that though. Hey,
the Eagles haven't had an elite running back talent on our roster in any of our competitive. We just never had one.
Haven't.
So to say that, I would have to agree, at least moderately, with the fact that you don't need one at all in this passes league to be successful.
I mean, and that's a good, you make a good point, because now let's think about the teams that have won the title the last how many ever years. First of all the Patriots teams that have won, they ain't got no elite running back. Let's not even pretend like any of the guys.
James White.
So that's six right there, right?
The jury's still out on Sony Michel, but I get your point.
Yeah, I mean,
whoa. No slander.
That's 1 year.
We ain't get there yet.
Nice try. Hold on. Hey, but I mean, since we're bringing, I hate to cut somebody out, but I mean, we're talking about, the Patriots never had an elite running back, but again, it was by committee. Don't forget about that year that LeGarrette Blount had with the Patriots. He had like 18 touchdowns that year,
true.
man. He had like 18 touchdowns that year.
But here's the thing.
Make you elite.
But here's the thing.
But you a goal line back.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with the Patriots.
But he played like he was elite.
He didn't play like he was elite. He just had touchdowns. I mean,
the Patriots.
If you want to go look at the last championship team who had necessarily an elite running back, it would be the Seahawks. If we still consider Marshawn Lynch, I mean, he was Marshawn.
He was elite at the time.
At that time,
at the time, yeah.
You can't say that he wasn't.
That was like 6 years ago.
He was elite though.
Okay, at the time, was he a top 3 or top 5 running back?
Oh, top 5, sure. Top 5 at the time.
Top 5. He was top 5.
I mean,
you talk
top 5. I feel like top 5 at your position makes you elite.
Well, I think so. I agree.
I mean,
I agree.
Are we doing that for quarterbacks?
He wasn't top 5. That's a negative. Ghost Rider.
I mean,
well, man.
You gonna keep politicking for Brian Westbrook?
Elite, dog.
Hey,
nobody hold that man.
Not elite.
Man, how you
going back to Westbrook, man?
How you keep giving Westbrook love, but you ain't even say Carell Buckhalter one time, man? Come on now.
Yikes.
Just leave him out.
Come on, man.
Yikes.
Wait,
but the point is,
if we putting Brian Westbrook in there, we throwing Jamal Charles healthy in there and all that.
But again.
But wasn't he in top 5?
He was at one point.
Yeah.
The Chiefs had a string of guys that were top 5, and then like the next year they were out of the league.
Oh,
he was hurt so much.
Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, Jamal Charles. We could just keep going down the list. Like,
shout out Priest Holmes, man.
As long as they were good for the Chiefs. Hey, Priest Holmes was good for us. He just, I mean, he ended up getting older.
Yeah.
It clearly going to the Chiefs is where you go to die if you're a running back.
Hey, you win a couple. You win before you die, at least, man.
Quarterbacks thrive. Running backs die.
Hey, chill, because that was tight ends in Jacksonville for a minute too, bro.
Look, everybody goes to die in Jacksonville on all.
All the tight ends was like, I'm about to go catch this 9 milli real quick for 2 years.
If you want to be part of elite defense, you come to Jacksonville. Well, let's look at the offense.
That's brand new though. You know what I'm saying?
At that time, Tyreek Hill threw Jalen Ramsey the peace sign.
Hey.
All right.
Back to it. But back to it. Back to it. We're talking about the elite running backs. Where did DeMarco Murray come from? Where did the Eagles get DeMarco Murray?
Yes,
Dallas for sure.
It came from Dallas, right?
Dallas,
yeah. So this seems to be a repetitive thing at Dallas. DeMarco Murray was like the leading rusher when they let him go.
Yeah, he had a beast.
Go and bring
That's what I'm saying.
Zeke over to Philly.
That's what happens when you run the ball for 3 downs.
That's what I'm saying. He was.
What the Cowboys need to figure out is how much do they value Dak Prescott or whoever the running back's going to be, right? Because they built this team around they built their offense around their offensive line, right? And the question for the Cowboys is, yes, like you said, do they believe in Dak Prescott, and do they believe that what they're trying to build between Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper and what they have on their O-line, is that enough where there won't miss Zeke? I find that hard to believe, because let's not pretend. For me, Ezekiel Elliott is top 2 or just flat out the best. I mean, you can make an argument for him being the best. Like, you can legit make the argument. At the very worst, again, top 2.
All right, so I'm hold on. I'm gonna need to stop y'all right there, because we know he's not better than Le'Veon Bell, right?
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
can we stay longer than Le'Veon?
He's not better than Le'Veon. Le'Veon is generational.
That's the only argument.
When's the last time
he's the only player that you can make the argument for?
Y'all skipped 1 season. That don't mean shit, bro. He's the same man.
It doesn't matter. He's older.
No, he's not older because he rested, so he's not older right now.
He's not resting. You're still old. You can't stop your.
What he means is,
all you gotta do is train, bro.
Older.
You just train. That's why AP made it as far as he did.
His body didn't take the 400 carries that they was getting ready to put on him last season.
But
That's what.
But he still is older though.
So he didn't put no miles on him, is what I'm saying.
Right.
So
he's not better than Le'Veon.
Okay.
So let me ask you
that's
this.
fine.
And if Todd, hold on. And if Todd Gurley is healthy, he's not better than Todd Gurley.
And that's a Georgia Bulldog through and through.
If he's healthy, he's not better than Todd Gurley.
That's arguable.
And they right.
That's very arguable.
They're right there, bro.
Maybe not Le'Veon, but you could definitely argue between Ty and.
So that's why I give him top 5, because I'm like
5.
Okay, he's not 1 or 2, but he's really good.
Like, those are the best 3 running backs in the league. I don't even think
it's. So I say top 5.
Yeah. That's definitely. We're talking tiers. We're talking tiers.
Like, those are the best 3.
So,
and there's a drop.
Hold on. So let's not forget something. Okay. Number 4.
Devontae Freeman.
No. Number 3, actually, pardon. Number 3 is Kareem Hunt. Y'all forgot about Kareem Hunt.
I mean,
he was in the good. So before
you gotta show me more.
Before we start talking about that, and before we get into it, we talk about all the time, man. If Tom Brady was on a different team, would he be as good because he's in a good system?
Right.
Look at what James Conner did. Not even James Conner. After James Conner got hurt, who's that third string? Washington. He came in. He was killing it. So until Le'Veon can play on this different team and show me that it's not the system, because the same thing with Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt did nothing different than Jamal Charles did.
However, I will say.
Hold on. So did Sharkhandrick West hold them numbers too?
He got hurt.
He played, and they got hurt.
And Spencer Ware?
Spencer Ware had a great season before he got hurt.
Hold on.
The only reason Kareem Hunt got the playing time he did is because Spencer Ware hurt his leg in preseason. If he didn't hurt his leg, Spencer Ware wasn't
even in the start.
Right.
So the thing about Kareem Hunt is, it's his power and it's his ball vision. You can't coach ball vision.
Right, but you have to be in the right system to be able to showcase.
So players who have excellent. That's why you know, as talented as Trent Richardson was, he ain't doing shit in the league because he don't have any ball vision.
But he never did. So he's just a college player.
You can front on that shit in college. You can lie your way to. When you get to the league, motherfuckers know the difference.
First of all, fuck Kareem Hunt. How about Saquon Barkley?
You skipped that. Right.
That was my number 4. That was the only reason I didn't put Saquon before that is because Saquon's stats come from pure usage. Because one, that O-line is terrible.
Which is
inefficient.
Bro,
they don't even use Saquon and he logged those numbers.
His stats.
Hold on. So this is how I know you're wrong. Because Eli Manning was 3rd in check down percentage per pass play in the league last year. He was 3rd. So there's only one back that was coming out of that backfield that was catching them passes. And that was Saquon.
I don't mean they were handing him the ball. We were talking about a running back.
No, it's not even that. But you do still have to hand off your ball as well. But I'm talking about all them checkdowns to Saquon. That's really what inflated his numbers. If you go look at his numbers right now and you check them receptions, he's catching all these little 2-yard checkdowns.
Rushing numbers.
7, 8 yards, and it's just inflating numbers. But he is very talented. That's not the take from him. He's talented.
Rushing checkdowns on
rushing. All right, hold on. Hey, I did my homework today, Okay. I did my homework.
Okay.
Saquon was second in carries last season with 1,300 yards.
That's what I said, from pure usage.
That's what I'm saying. But don't say that his stats are inflated because of his checkdown percentages. His carries are there, his yards are there, his touchdowns are there, all top 10. So checkdowns are not. He's up there. I can't.
So let me take a verse from the book of Re real quick, because he said just a few minutes ago, if you take a running back, he said the 4th. I'm saying with the 2nd overall pick. What are you telling the league? You telling the league I'm trying to run the ball. That's what he just said.
Yeah. Right. I mean.
So
that's what they're trying to do because Eli's trash.
And your quarterback is 38 years old, and you take a running back.
But they're not trying to pay that though. They buy in until they don't have to pay anymore, where they can make the choice to pay and they choose not to.
Look, when they get these running backs,
all I'm saying is, if you get a top 5 draft pick, if your team happens to be bad enough to get a top 5 draft pick, then that player that you draft needs to retire with your team. That's how big that decision is. So to me, I say, if this player plays this well, that we're even having this debate and not just saying, hey, he'll be all right either way, or they'll be all right either way, instead of just dismissing them like that, that tells me you got to pay the man.
It doesn't always, and I don't totally disagree with what you just said in terms of, when a team picks a guy that high. But the problem is, percentage-wise, it's not going to work out that way unless you're picking a quarterback or an offensive lineman. Mm-hmm. Like, every other position, there's almost no chance that guy's going to finish with it. You pick a running back or a wide receiver or a cornerback, like the odds of that guy finishing with that team anymore is like slim to none. Like it's just not happening anymore. You're either getting a franchise quarterback or a franchise left tackle, or you're not.
Maybe a middle linebacker. Maybe
that's
I
it.
Don't know.
Like I mean, so many. You got so many misses.
So then, do we suspect the same thing to happen with Saquon Barkley?
Probably eventually, because that's the way of the running back position. Because especially the Giants are gonna be looking for another quarterback next year when they're trash again, and in the following draft they're gonna be looking for a quarterback. Because I don't think who's Daniel Jones. I don't think that he's the answer. Like he's just another
call him Eli Manning number 2. That's basically what he is.
Eli got 2 rings though. Eli's got 2 rings. Eli's got 2 rings.
And it's just like and
that defense got 2 rings. But that's another conversation.
Great receivers.
The shelf life of these running backs are so drastically short that you can't bank on these guys even finishing with your team. But that's what teams do, and you can't fault these guys for trying to get their money, because what the teams do, they come on these rookie deals. Yep. They always pick up the team option is always the 4th or 5th year option, and then they franchise tag them for 1 or the 2 years if they're that good, and they've got 5, 6, 7 years out of them, and then they're done after that. Done, finished. You've gotten everything that you've gotten from that guy, because he's not going to give you. He's not going to give you prime production in year 8. No running back is doing that anymore. Like, we're not talking like 10, 15 years ago when running backs could still kind of do something later in their career. Those days are over.
AP was the only one.
Yeah, and he was a freak.
Freak of nature, man.
Guys aren't doing that anymore. And these teams, it's going to be these decisions that have to be made with these running backs. Especially, and again, we're talking about Ezekiel now. In 3 years or 2 years, we're going to be having the same discussion about Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
Legit. Like, we're going to be having this exact same
I'm going to have to disagree with that. And the reason I say that,
to pay him next year and give him a new contract.
The reason I say that is because what the Giants just went through with Odell Beckham, and they're not going to put their brand out there on the line like that over a superstar player that the league loves. And a lot of people didn't like Odell Beckham, and that's the only reason he's in Cleveland right now, is because a lot of people just didn't like all the antics. A lot of people didn't like it. And New York's, being from New York's a very traditional city. Like, people are very old fashioned in their town. And they go, I like Odell, but he needs to calm down with all the extra. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how a lot of New Yorkers are.
You got Eli. That's exactly why. Well, I mean, I'm talking shit about Eli the way he acts, but he's got 2 rings again. But this is a new era, man. But back to the
it's a different time. So, a kid like Saquon, Saquon was born and raised in New York City. Like, he belongs there.
We'll see. I mean,
they said the same thing about Melo.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like, when was his last meaningful season though? Like, he just didn't know when to let go.
To the point where we talk about running backs being expendable, you look at it. Yeah. So Le'Veon wanted paid. Steelers weren't doing it. They said, fine, sit. They started James Conner. James Conner took off. That's what happened to Le'Veon. Le'Veon's now in New York. Plays for the Jets. We look at Ezekiel Elliott. He's not there anymore. I mean, you could look at any kind of smaller feature back, like Jordan Howard even. He now plays for Philly because Chicago didn't want him anymore. They don't want to deal with that. Right. And I'm not saying anything bad about Philly. I'm just saying that's the nature of the game. Is running backs aren't as essential as they might have been back in the day.
They're not, because
you have that person. You're just like, I don't care. Jordan Howard, running back 900 yards last year, 900 yards last year, 9 touchdowns. I don't really care though. We'll just get somebody else to fill a spot.
The game has changed. It's a passing league. It's about elite quarterbacks, and this really ushered in, quite frankly, with the Patriots. We going on. Brady's been in the league 19 years. He going into season 20. Like, this ushered in with the Patriots. Never had elite running backs, but they had a great system. They had an elite quarterback. They had an elite coach, and they just made it work. The system goes, guys are interchangeable at every position. As long as you have an elite quarterback to make it work, you'll be fine. Coach. Like, this is why the Saints won with Breeze, because you put these interchangeable pieces. They have an elite quarterback where the system works, and let's just roll, because that's how it works. Sean, like I said, I mentioned the Saints. Sean Payton's an offensive genius, so it's like, and he's head coach and calling the plays. So it's like, and it just works. It just works because that's the way of the league. The league, it's a passing league. It's an elite quarterback league. And if you don't have one, you're not going to win, because another thing, like I said, I mentioned us going back on the years of, last how many ever Super Bowl winners that didn't have, an elite running back. How many of those teams had an elite quarterback? All of them. Patriots, Brady. Saints, Breeze. Packers, Rodgers. Steelers, Roethlisberger. Seahawks, Russell Wilson. Like, Colts.
Even though he was older.
Colts, Manning. Broncos, Manning. Like, the only miss in the last, 15 years is Eli Manning, because I don't think Eli Manning was ever elite. No. The Giants defense was elite, but Eli was just
in the playoffs for some reason.
Eli was good, don't get me wrong, but elite.
They're scraggling all the way on to 9-7 or 10-6, and then
he was good enough to get them in the playoffs, and then the defense dominated. That's all it is. That's all that was. But aside from those two
seasons, Strahan got rings.
Aside from those 2 seasons, elite quarterbacks win you the Super Bowl. That's it. That's how you win. I guess the Eagles may have been a slight anomaly in that also, because I don't think we necessarily consider Nick Foles to be elite, even though he's now the quarterback.
The Ravens.
Time out.
He played on an elite level. He's not necessarily an elite player.
Why you do that to him?
That man finished 27-1, dog.
I didn't say he didn't play elite.
Game manager.
I'm not gonna say he was elite.
He said 27 touchdowns and 1 INT.
Did they win that year though?
Game manager.
He said
game manager. Game management is underrated, but it still don't put you in.
It is underrated. It
don't put you in the elite category.
Who was his coach?
And that's all I want him to do in Jacksonville. Just be the game manager. You don't need to just be the game manager. Don't throw a bunch of picks. That's all we need. Somebody that's gonna make smart decisions.
Just a little tidbit before we keep going at this is doing the research, and somebody might have to look back, correct me, but the last time we had a 2,000-yard rusher was 2012. So I mean, whoa, this will be the 2019-2020 season. So
and you're not gonna see one probably
in a long time.
I don't know when.
I mean, you might see
to that point.
You'll get 2,000. You'll get 2,000 like all purpose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
2,000 rushing. That ain't gonna happen.
AP was the last 2,000-yard rusher in 2012.
Yep.
348 attempts, 12 touchdowns. Didn't even lead in touchdowns, just yards.
Yep.
Well, not even attempts either. So that's what I'm saying. It's is running back key. You need your running back these days. The running backs need to be able to catch, or you need to have a running back by committee, and you need to have the one that's going to run. AKA, you look at Sonny Michel's the runner, and then they got James White.
James White catching the ball. Yep.
James White, Rex Burkhead. They got like 6 guys.
Deion Lewis was on there for a while.
Yeah, it is what it is, and that's how it's gonna go. But I think one thing we kind of hit a point here where we all agree on. I mean, I don't know if we all agree, but I feel like most of us agree on the fact that look, I'm not gonna hold Zeke Elliott for trying to get his money because
no, most definitely not.
The team they're gonna do. We can't keep faulting the players for trying to get their money. When we look at these teams, they just use and abuse these players, and just like, all right, well, we're done with you now. See you later. Like, nah, man. At some point in time, that's gotta. And one thing, and that's one of the things,
TRB.
And that's and that's one of the things crossing sports. Just for a quick second, I really respect about LeBron James because I feel like he ushered in this era where the players have more control over their own brand and more control over, hey, you know what? We do have the power because we're on the court playing games. Like, we should have the power too. Like, it shouldn't just be about the guys that own the teams, and we out here playing it and bringing and putting butts in the seats. Like, what about us? So I really respect that LeBron. And initially, I wasn't always the happiest about the way he went about the stuff that happened in Miami. But at the same time, he ushered in this new era of players taking control of their own destinies, their own brand. And I think we're starting to see, and not for nothing, I feel like that's what really started to leak over into football. Because it's like, and I commend, and I think the flag bearer for that right now technically is Le'Veon Bell, if we want to be honest, because that man had the guts to say, you know what, I'm gonna sit out, whatever. If you're not gonna give me what I need, you're not gonna give me the contract that I want.
That's really what changed all of this. So he showed that's what you're gonna have to do.
I'll hold out the whole year, fine, whatever. I'm gonna take that hit because you know what, I know what I'm worth. And if you're not gonna pay me, I bet somebody will.
Somebody will.
Somebody's gonna pay him.
Jets did.
You're not gonna sit here and lay these 400 touches on my back and for $7 million. Nah, I'm straight. I commend him for having the guts to hold out and having the conviction to say, you know what, I'm in here for the long haul. And it paid off. He got that contract with the Jets. 13-4. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they're better overall. I mean, say what you want. I mean, I feel like, they won't be banging down the door to beat the Patriots, but they're heading in the right direction. They improved their defense. Le'Veon is instantly better. I mean, Darnold might be good. I mean, who knows? I mean, they might win some games. They're not gonna win the division. They're gonna make the playoffs, but they might win 7 games. Who knows?
Here's the other portion of this with the Cowboys, right? They just re-signed Alfred Morris today.
Yeah, I mean, they had to. Because they need guys in
They're
camp.
Prepared for it.
They just need somebody that they have to run through these drills.
Yeah.
They need guys
to get them reps in, man.
Hey, I mean, they're gonna treat him like that, man. I mean, they're gonna push him to the brink and make him sit out. And if he sits out, then they're gonna be like, well, hey, it's time to move on.
And that's gonna be the new question: how much conviction does Ezekiel Elliott have? Because now, mind you, he wasn't in the stage of his career that Le'Veon was at.
Yeah.
So is he gonna have the conviction and the maturity to be like, well,
like Le'Veon already made a little bit of paper.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, but I don't know.
Yeah, Le'Veon has some money in the bank already.
I don't know, man. I think I think Zeke and Le'Veon too. I think they just have the case to be like, dude, look at my resume.
Yeah.
You're not gonna disrespect my resume.
No.
I'm top 10 in every category.
Bro.
And 2 of those seasons, I didn't even play every game. One season, I finished top 10 in every category. I only played 10 games. You
right.
Shitting me. And then
and the other 2 seasons, he led the league in rushing.
Last year, led the league in rushing and first in carries again. Like you said, you said 300 carries. Nah, like you said, it's 350 plus 400 carries.
That's what I'm saying. Man. By the time the touches out of the backfield, like this, yeah, right.
But I can't blame him because he's like, dude, I took a beating already. But like you said, the league is not going that way. It's going the way of Le'Veon Bell, Alvin Kamara. We need you to be 50-50. Like you need to catch damn near 100, passes a year. Yeah. That's how they treat these backs now. But I do think that there still is a place for Zeke because I think it's Dallas's scheme. I do think that Zeke would be able to catch passes out of the backfield.
Yeah, he does. He does, and he's gotten better.
That's what I'm saying. But I think he could do it more. I think he could be on that Le'Veon level. Their offensive scheme is absolutely horrible, man. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. You know what's coming. I mean, it's that 1 year it worked. It's like stop us, whatever. But get your money, man. But at the same time, I get where the teams are at. Is it right? No. I do not think it's right because the fact is that these position players are expendable. Yeah, you could find 10 wide receivers that could do what 2 of them do put together, but you can't find 10 quarterbacks that do what Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and those guys do, and that's what you got to prioritize. So I get it, man. It's correct. It's so hard to find the balance, but my conclusion is go get your money, man. Look, you gotta look out for yourself. They're gonna look out for themselves. You gotta look out for yourselves, man. Whatever,
Correct, and that's kind of the consensus here. We'll leave it at that. Before we switch gears here, and that's where it is. It's kind of like Zeke, go ahead and get your money. And because the teams are going to do what's best for the team, players got to do what's best for the players. He's outperformed his contract. He's worth it. Pay him his money and let's keep it moving or not or don't. And we'll see what happens. We'll go from there.
Hold on, Ree.
Yep.
To your point, you did make a good point, man. Teams that win the Super Bowl do not have elite running backs. And one of the most heartbreaking seasons was that year that Sean Alexander had with the Seattle Seahawks, and they still didn't win the title that year.
Nope. Man. They sure didn't. Man. He ran for a grip of yards. Man. A grip. That's a very good
That point. Hurts.
That hurts. Exactly. All right. So, moving on to our gaming segment of the show, we are going to talk about big-time news in the gaming world. Fortnite now, and the Fortnite, championships or world championships, whatever world tour championships thing they just had. And these kids out here
Fortnite World Cup.
For Fortnite World Cup, yeah. These kids out here getting this money. How much?
$3 million.
Okay, and that was
$3 million. I don't even know the in between.
And that's just one
that was a
player.
That was a solo championship.
And he's what? What was he like? 16?
16.
Right.
16.
Here's the thing. Like, first of all, I don't play Fortnite like that anyway. So let's preface that. I mean, it's a pot. People say it's the best game going right now. Let's not confuse best game with most popular. It's the most popular game right now. It's not the best game. Don't get me it's not. It is what it is. It functions as it should. To me, it's just whatever. But man, if you told me 20 years ago, I'm 36. If you told me 20 years ago that I could make a couple $1 million off of winning a game championship, bro, my life might have taken a different course in terms of what I prioritize.
Full-time job.
Because, I feel like there's a bigger picture here than just the fact that this 16-year-old kid just won this Fortnite thing and won $3 million. The bigger picture about it is games aren't the same anymore, right? Games aren't the way we view games, the way that we, look at games in terms of their worth and their value and what they can bring, to an individual from a financial economic standpoint. Again, like I said, years ago, playing video games kind of was like a taboo, and me and C kind of on the same page. We're around the same age, and we dealt with a lot of those things where, it wasn't cool to play video games when you were 12, when you were 16 in our days. When you were growing up, coming up through high school, playing video games wasn't cool. It was like, you had to have secret meetings to meet up to go play games. Like
they treated you like you was still going to play with G.I. Joes and shit. That's how they treated you.
Right, exactly. Like, and it's crazy to think of now. I feel like we're in a funky space where games now, if you have a child, and again, a couple of us in here between C and Jordan, y'all can, speak on this. Having kids now that show proficiency maybe at an early age, technologically speaking, like, okay, they might be playing a hard ass game and they're like, man, you're kind of young through this. You're kind of young to be able to play this really well. You might have a proficiency at this, right? Do we now start to view that the same way we view young kids that show proficiencies in sports? Because if a kid can catch a football at 3, or he can dribble, or kids that are real fast, you'll be like, yo, he's faster than all the kids that are his age. That's identifiable, and you'll be like, yo, he might be gifted. Are we definitely in a phase now where we start to view games like in that same way? I'll kick it over to you, C. Again, one of the parents in the current discussion. Like,
yeah. I was actually just having this discussion today in the house, and the conversation was, well, do you want him shooters? Are you okay? I got a 10-year-old, and the conversation was, do you want him playing games like Fortnite and like PUBG and like Call of Duty and these games, because they present a portion of life that your kid is not familiar with, and you're allowing your kid to familiarize himself with something that he may not completely understand. So the conversation really went in the direction of, well, I played games that parents may have deemed a little different back in the days.
I was getting ready to say exactly
Grand
that.
Theft Auto and all of that, and I played those games, and it didn't turn me into a psycho murderer. You know what I mean? Like,
games,
it's a video game. I'm a human being, and I've got a decent head on my shoulders. I can tell the difference between fantasy and reality. So, it's like, well, then there's also the fact of the chatting online and the dangers of having your children open and available online in that mic and his headset, and you don't know what people are saying to your child.
That's a bigger concern now, because we didn't have that.
It's not like your kid playing games at his friend's house and who he's with. This is like, there's some guy in a basement in Iowa who's been waiting all day for your kid to get on. Like, you know what I mean?
Call the N-word and everything.
Yeah, like,
so
that's one of those things that you and I growing up, that's something we'd have to deal with.
You didn't have to think about that.
That's an element that we have to deal with, because that element just wasn't there. It didn't exist. And I like the point you brought up with games that we played because I was getting ready to come in with that exact point. We played Mortal Kombat. We was 10, 11 playing Mortal Kombat, Blood Code, Fatalities, everything. Guys' heads getting ripped off, all that stuff. Yep. But, they like to talk about games like, games are these evil things. Look, games don't make people do crazy stuff. Crazy people do crazy stuff.
That's it.
All right. Grand Theft Auto doesn't make people go up and shoot up a neighborhood. No. That's not how that works. You have
poverty makes people shoot up the neighborhood.
Yeah, fact. That's not how that works. But it's like, again, we played those violent games, and I feel like as long as you teach your kids, you're proper parents, and you teach your kids the right things, like, hey, look, you might see some stuff in this game that it's a game. Like, let's understand that this is stuff it's not real, and these things don't really happen. It doesn't exist like that. This is a fantasy world, and you keep it at that. Like you said, most kids, they get the proper guidance, you have a decent head on your shoulders, you kind of know the difference. Like, okay, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you think, Jordan? Because I know, like I said, you know,
bro. So before we break off in that tangent, I'm gonna bring it back to where we started here. The kids play video games for this. I mean, esports is a big thing now, man. I mean, there's colleges giving scholarships for that.
Facts.
So, like
they
you
got
said, I mean,
esports teams on.
Yeah,
Yo, before
exactly.
you jump in there, I was on a website looking at some of these universities, and not even like real. I'm talking about like tech universities.
Bro. Tech
they
universities,
have
bro.
Esports gaming teams. You got to try out.
Yeah.
They got uniforms. I'm like, yo, this
Where
is
that
like
was at?
serious.
Where that was at 10 years ago?
I'm trying to join that one. No, so this past Saturday, I have my brother-in-law over, and we was talking, and he was talking about how, and I know we all have it. You know, you get that game aggression. You play games, you get mad. My nephew's like 11, 10, and he was like, I wish he would get that show that emotion when he plays real sports, because he doesn't show that emotion when he plays real sports, And so, like I said, my brother-in-law is not a huge gamer. So, I mean, he plays Madden, but I mean, he's not a huge gamer. My nephew plays Fortnite a lot, and that's what he gets mad at. But that's when I talked to him, like, I said, because his argument was there's a lot of openings for sports. And I'm like, there's a lot of opening for gaming these days. I said, if that's something that he's passionate about, I said, you got to keep honing him and pushing him that way, but you have to hone it in the right way, But that's what it is. Is some people, and like I said, I'm not calling him out or anything, but that's how it goes. Is there is so much more opening nowadays for people who can play video games. It's crazy. Like I said, esports is a real thing. I looked it up. The people who are in the actual NBA 2K league, they have like a 6-month contract, like $35,000 just for the base salary, and they can take. And that's what's crazy though. For a 6-month contract, you get $35,000 to play a game that you love to play.
Right, and you bring up jump in there. You can bring up a good point, because it's like you have to recognize now there's also branching elements to this, right? So if a kid might show proficiency in games, or if it's something that's what they're really interested in, on a deeper level, it's not just are they good at playing games. If that's what they like, they might be able to develop games. They might be able to code games. They might be able to. There's a whole landscape of tech stuff that they can get involved with that maybe not. They may not be the best gamer. They might not ever be a pro gamer, but they might be able to develop a game. They might be able to build some levels. Like, they might be so imaginative to be able to put together, there's people that have to put those Mario levels together. All right. And that stuff is ingenious.
And I would even go as far as to say it's simply endurance. One thing for me, especially, I know I'm not the best gamer out there, but one thing that I definitely can do, I can definitely sit down and I can play a game for 10 hours.
Oh,
and that's no issue for me. Where some people can't do that.
Can't do that. You're right.
They just can't do it. Like, physically just are incapable. And that could literally lead into the content creation side. You literally sit there and you log on and you can become a personality, an internet personality. Like we have Clean Prince Gaming out here sitting in front of a microphone at a desk talking for an hour and a half about nothing. And logging in views upon views upon views. We got kids that are not even over 10 years old making tens of thousands of dollars just talking in front of their game and playing the absolute worst technically that you could possibly imagine.
Right.
But I caught my I didn't catch, I guess. My younger brother-in-law was watching a guy on YouTube open up NBA 2K My Team packs.
Yeah, bro. All that stuff is a thing, and that's for all games. Look.
Wow.
They do that in 2K.
They do for
people
FIFA,
get online.
FIFA, Madden, 2K, bro. That's what they do it with. They open up those MUTs. They open up those My Packs, and I don't know what it is, but
literally paying for the packs that they open.
Exactly. They're like,
there's content creators. I play Magic. I play Magic the Gathering Arena on the PC. There's content creators for that people follow them and they open up packs. A lot of time they open up packs and people are there for their pack openings, and a lot of their a lot of their money that they get through Patreon and all that stuff, their donations, pays for the packs, pays for them to buy more cards and build decks so people can watch them play.
Wow.
Like there's so many avenues to this that it's like all you gotta have is a personality. Just as long as you don't have the personality of a damn doormat, you're good. Like, and you have any proficiency. If you have a good personality and you have a proficiency for games, you can be a YouTube content creator. You need to get you get some people on board. You just get on there and just start recording shit.
Yeah.
You just start recording stuff. You just start going live and just start playing. And eventually, shit just starts to build over time. You start with the people that you already know, right? The people you know that know somebody, yo, man, share my video with somebody, and then that person shares a video, and like, oh, man, this person's kind of dope. I like his personality. That's all it takes.
That's it.
If 5 people do that, and then 10 people do it, and then 20 people do it, and then 40 people do it, all of a sudden now you're a content creator and you're monetized.
Look, to that point, I mean, first off, I want to say, so this, obviously that solo winner won $3 million, but a kid won $900,000, and they handed out like $30 million in total prizes. I mean, this is ridiculous, man. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. But I have mixed feelings on it because I grew up in that era where I just loved playing video games so much. You guys know it. Come on, man. We played video games together for 10 plus years, man. Could you imagine now how much money we could have made off those Black Ops days where we went and hid in Jeeps and got blown up, and we're just like
Battlefield.
Where
are you kidding me?
When Josh was running around with
could have been living on that
nukes and shit, man. Like
we could have made so much money, man. It's just, I mean, I guess I'm not mad because I'm happy because truly deep down inside, that's what I wanted. Like for it to get to this point. I'm just mad that damn, why didn't we do that? Why didn't we do it? We talked about it. Me and Courtney have had countless.
Never too late. Never too late.
Man,
I'm gonna
just
start reviving all the old games and just start doing shit based on that.
Yo, that's what people do too. They do live streams of playthroughs. Like a guy will sit and play through Pokemon Red, like through the entire game.
And they will watch
the video be hours and hours long, and they be sitting there up still like
I'm gonna start.
All right, that's badge number 6.
WCW NWO Revenge tournament.
Yup, bruh. Hours and hours on that.
Right.
I bet you people still stream Skyrim. I bet you people still watch that, man.
Yeah. Skyrim, yeah.
PC, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm watching it right now.
Gotta be kidding.
To bring it back, man, I think, and I think Ryu touched on a little bit, if you look at kids these days and you're like, oh man, he can dribble real well, he can catch a football real well. I think you gotta look at it the same way and go, man, he's actually really hand-eye coordinated enough to play this video game. I mean, I know you got a son that plays. My daughter, she's been playing Hello Neighbor.
Right.
She's been playing that.
Here's the thing. As long as you're keeping your child in line with the stuff they need to do, like can they, are they working on their reading? Are they working on their reading comprehension skills? Are they working on their basic mathematics? Are they doing all that stuff? If they start to show proficiencies in I always tell people now, there are things that I can do, that I wouldn't be able to do if I wasn't a gamer since I was like 8, right?
Exactly.
At 36, I still have elite hand-eye coordination because I've been playing games since I was 8. Like, so it's like, those are things that you can't necessarily devalue. Games, there are positive to games because it teaches you, again, that hand-eye coordination natively. And then depending on what games you're playing, you start to develop these levels of comprehension and creative thinking that you wouldn't do just sitting looking at TV. So if you ask me if I'd rather my son sit and play games for 3 hours or sit and watch TV for 3 hours, I'm going to let him go play games for 3 hours because he'll get more out of it. So, this notion that video games are evil is a terrible thing because there's so many positive things to be gained from it. Yes.
Build the mind, man.
Do you have to mix in, yes, go out and, don't sit in front of it for all day because you need to get out and get some proper exercise. That's fine. But again, if you tell me his screen time is either sitting watching movies and TV shows about nothing or playing games, yo, go ahead and go play those games. Yeah. Because you'll gain so much more out of it. Again, that hand-eye coordination, critical thinking. He'll start to develop, you know what? And there's something to be said about these games where those classic platformers, right? Where you're playing the game and or even just, action games where you're fighting through the ball. So you try and get to a certain point in level and you die and you die and you die and you die, right? Your brain goes into this mode where you're like, yo, I need to run that back in my brain to figure out how to not die the next time. So now you're looking for a pattern, and now you're looking to put your creative thinking like, yo, I need to try to figure this out because there's a way to do this. There's a way to do this. Like I said, Grayson was 4 playing Rayman Legends, and I'm sitting watching him. He'll go through and die. And he'll die 5, 6, 7 times and then get it. I know his brain is working because he's now figuring out, okay, I did this, and I died. I can't do that anymore because then I'm going to die again.
Yep.
This shit is crazy to sit and watch a young mind go through these progressions. It's like, yo, this is crazy. But people devalue games so much because society tells us it's wrong. Society says, oh, don't do that. You're wasting your life.
They can't say it no more.
Bullshit, because if you can make $3 million playing a game, yo, I ain't never made $3 million. I ain't never seen $3 million. I've never accumulated $3 million over the course of my life.
$3 million of anything.
So don't tell me games.
I didn't touch 900K.
Right. So don't tell me nothing about games no more being like, oh, you wasting your life. Nah, to hell with that. Play these games because that might be an avenue. Because guess what? You might not make. There's the chances of the way our society is built. If you're not a doctor or a lawyer, or you're not like, in a specialty profession field where you're making 6 figures, you're getting by on trying to make it work with you're piecing shit together.
All the time.
It's like, what are we doing? So that's what I'm saying, right? So it's like if you tell me, you know what, yo, if you play these games and you become good enough, you might be able to make 6 figures. You might be able to make if you become good enough, you might be able to make a mill off this. Oh, word? You know what?
10 years ago, that was unheard of. 10 years ago, it was 10 years ago. Like I said, and Courtney can attest to this. We both love video games. We both played sports, but there was no career path or opportunity to college through video games. Me, I'm like, damn, I gotta go play sports. Well, maybe I'm not good enough to play pro sports, but shit, if I had an opportunity to play pro video games and knew I had the opportunity to play pro video games, I would have never even thought about it.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I remember, me and Reed I know Reed remembers this growing up. The only sort of esports or professional sports there was when Madden came out. They would do a tournament at Blockbuster Video when Madden dropped that.
They used to have, matter of fact, I'll hold you even better than that. Remember, they used to have the summer joints for Blockbuster where you had to play, I think it was NBA Jam Tournament Edition. I think it was Sonic and something else, and you had to run like a playthrough.
Yeah, it was like a playthrough challenge or something.
Yeah. Like,
and they would go and they have like 6 of them joints set up in the corner.
Fact.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Right.
That's all that was back then, though. There wasn't no online. Y'all got to remember, like, the PS2 was the first console to really like go online initially, and then they didn't really master it like that. They were just kind of doing it. Yeah. And then Xbox came in and was like, this is how you do it.
Hello.
And here's the thing. The thing is, like,
what he said, I heard him.
And we mentioned, and Lance just mentioned pro sports, and he made up a good point because that was something I wanted to bring up, is even if you got a kid or somebody that that is proficient in sports, and you're like, oh, you know what, he's kind of fast, or he's kind of this, or she's kind of that, she can hoop, or she can, whatever, especially a lot of these kids, they push them through sports, basketball, football, track, all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, they might be good, but how good are they?
I know.
Are they good enough to get to college and get a scholarship off that? Maybe. Are they going to go to the pro league? Probably not. What are the percentage of these guys make it to the league? What is it, like 2%? of people that play against elite.
And then, on top of that, there's even another point of, if your kid, happens to have some sort of proficiency in the sport, with sports, there's always, my kid can get hurt.
Yeah, fact. And then it's done.
But your kid's not getting hurt in this room playing video games.
No, fact. He's also not outside
getting carpal tunnel every day.
Definitely getting carpal tunnel at some point.
Yeah, I was saying, never get carpal tunnel.
Hey,
carpal tunnel, sir. I seen this.
You just bust one of these out.
2 wrist braces on, walking around looking painful as ever.
I'm taking that over a torn ACL any day. I'm good.
That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact. And the thing of it is, like, if even these kids that are good, they might be, good. They show proficiency in sports, and that's cool. At on the flip side of that, you only have a certain peak that you can get to of what you're capable of. Like, if you're fast, you can get to your fastest point. But you can't take somebody and be like, yo, I'm going to make you faster. But guess what? If you sit and grind long enough playing a game, you'll get better at it. You can just make yourself better at a game. You can't make yourself a better athlete than you already are. You can fine-tune your skills to their max, but you can't make yourself better than what you can be. Games, on the other hand,
make yourself taller.
If you're like kind of middle of the road, you be like, yo, if I play this joint every day for 6 hours, I can be nice. you can just make yourself better.
Get paid for it. That's crazy.
You can't do that with anything else. You can't just wake up one day and be like, you know what? I think I want to be a doctor. Let's just make this work. No, you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. If you wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what? I think I want to get nasty at Mortal Kombat and just like crazy with it. You can do it because all it requires is you to spend enough time doing it, grinding over and over and over, and eventually you'll be like, yo, I'm nice with it. Let's go. Like, and that's the crazy thing about it. Like, you spend enough time doing it, you can make yourself nice. That's crazy. And make money.
I got a question for that. To my knowledge, the only D1 athlete that we have on the pod, and is Courtney. As much as you loved running track and stuff like that. I mean, you devoted a lot of time to it. You know what I mean? But say
devoted more. But go ahead.
and that's what I'm saying. I get it, and I get it because even when you ran track, you still played a shit ton of video games. And that's the crazy part. And that goes to my next point, is because it's like you're torn. Okay, you're like, I should have devoted more time, but I can't leave these games alone. If there was an avenue for you to take it at that point in time to make basically the same amount of money to win video games, would you not do it? Would you not do that? As a D1 athlete, would you not do it?
I would have tried to balance both at the same time, but then it would have been more so leaning probably towards. That's a very tough question.
You see what I'm saying?
Especially going into college, knowing that that's what I kind of wanted to do in my life, to run track, make it to the Olympics, do all those kind of cool things. But then if this timeline would have matched up with that, to where they was having Modern Warfare tournaments for $3 million.
Let me ask you this. Before you continue, let me ask you this. If they would have offered you a scholarship for playing 2K,
bingo,
I would have did it.
I'm taking it, bro. No
like,
doubt.
You go for like a computer programming or coding degree or something like that.
I would have took it.
I would have took it.
Yeah. My dad would have hated me for it, but I would have took it.
I don't care.
That's just because you pop's old school though.
Because I'd have still been able to run.
Yeah.
Still been able to run. I still wouldn't have to commit.
Yeah.
The kids of this generation are going to be more fortunate because they got parents like us
who understand.
So we grew up playing video games, and it's like we're looking at it like we all have wives that might think differently, but at the same time we're looking at the kids like, hey, look, if he can play games and he's nice with it,
he gonna play.
Let's just let him keep playing, or let her keep playing, because one day, 10 years from now,
he run that checkup on you.
He might be able to make some money off of this. He might become his personality. His personality might be so infectious that he makes a video one day and it just spreads like wildfire.
And it could be one video,
right? And then bam, all of a sudden, he's a YouTube personality, or she's a YouTube personality. She's a content creator, and people follow them just because they go online to play games. That's it. There's people that just go on. Yo, there are people and again, I'll reference Magic again. Some of those dudes, that's how they make all their money. These dudes, some of these dudes play Magic, and not even on a professional tour. They play it so much, and they play it on YouTube. They have so many followers. They have so much backing. They have so much Patreon support. That's their income, all of it. They don't have other jobs. They play Magic for like 6-7 hours a day. Bro, if you told me I could sit at my computer and play Magic the Gathering Arena for 8 hours a day and get paid, I would stop doing everything else immediately.
Like, do that for fun every day. Like, play the game 8 hours a day for fun. Like,
I play a couple hours now for free. You kidding me? Just play 6 more every day and you're good. We'll pay you for it. What? I'm trying to make that happen.
When I was 16, if somebody told me I'd get paid for playing Modern Warfare 2 for 12 hours straight, I would have took it so fast because I did it every single day just to be online, playing the game, laughing, going to school on like 1 hour to sleep every single day.
Yeah, there was a point I was world ranked in Dragon Age Inquisition on Xbox.
Right. And I think and that's the thing.
I was on that leaderboard for a second.
I ain't gonna hold him for that. I ain't gonna hold him for that.
You take a day off from that motherfucker though, man. Oh man.
I ain't gonna hold him for that because I feel like everybody's got a game that
Dragon Age
they would like.
I was on that. Boy.
Burnout Paradise back on 360. I was top 10 ranked like in the world.
Shout out to Psycho Palisade. You know what I mean?
Everybody's got a game. You know, if you were nice enough like that, you played it enough. Everybody's got a game. But yo, I was kind of ranked on that joint online for a minute. Like I was rolling with this dude. Like I remember these dudes I used to roll with on Burnout Paradise. Like these British dudes, like they were nasty, but it was like these group of British guys that were always like top 5 in the world. And I was like, eventually I got nice enough that I was like racing with them. It was like, yo, it was crazy. Like,
side note, that game is great. That game is great.
It is. I got.
Yeah, so you know,
I gotta get off. So I'm gonna close my close this out for me, and I'm gonna say on my recap here that the running back position is definitely, you don't necessarily need an elite running back to be great in the league. That's been proven. Yep. That's why running backs are moving around so much. Let your kids' brains evolve, man. These games, they're not bad for them, man. They are building them, if anything. They are, not only that, but let's be honest, there are introverted kids who are antisocial, maybe out in the world, but they are very social when they play games. Online, I mean, so again, let them expand, man, expand. That's what we're doing. We evolving. That's me.
It's gonna be like Ready Player One of these years. I'm gonna be 50 years old.
That's one of the top 3 movies.
That's me, bro. So Jay Hunt right here, bro. Space Jam 9191.
Take it easy.
He did the whole outro. Oh, his face.
That's clean. So you know, we got that covered, and you know, like Jordan said, let your kids play games. The times have changed. So one more thing I wanted to talk about. You know, we were talking about games, we were talking about sports. I did want to talk a little bit about Madden 20.
Why you say it like that?
Here's the thing.
Before we even get started, so, I have no words.
So let's start with this.
Madden.
Now again, I won't go into a whole.
Okay.
You know, I kind of want to get everybody's input about the game, so I'll wait for the whole squad to be on the cast. But I had an epiphany today about Madden after beating Courtney last night.
After like 7 games.
And that wasn't it. I was driving around today doing Lyft, and I had an epiphany about Madden today. And I finally figured something out. I've viewed Madden very wrong for the past how many ever years. And to this degree, right? Madden is not simulation football, right? 2K Sports was simulation football, right? 2K was simulation football. And that was their thing. That was their big thing, to replicate football as you see it on Sunday, right? And they did a damn good job of getting really close for a video game. Here's what I just realized about Madden. It's not simulation football. Madden's an arcade game, right? And once I came to the conclusion in my head earlier today that Madden is an arcade game, I realized something. Madden's an excellent game for being an arcade game.
True.
Because when you think about an arcade game, you think about shit that's really over the top, right? NFL Street, Blitz. And those are good games for what they were. But once we move Madden over into the arcade category, it now becomes an excellent game. It becomes elite. Madden goes into the elite status once you classify it properly as an arcade football game. Madden is not a simulation football game. I feel like they've let that ship sail mainly because you look at the development status, the development of Madden, those guys know nothing about football whatsoever. And we've heard from the proper sources that the people who develop Madden know nothing about football.
What do you think I've been saying this whole time?
So
not that.
Not
do
to
that.
Don't do that.
You're not gonna take his point. You can say that. Cut it.
What do you think I've been saying?
Not that. No.
I've been like, yo, it's just a video game.
But
and I was like, you and Dre keep looking for a simulator. This isn't driving simulator. This isn't Ferrari simulator at the video game spot, and you get in the machine and it's moving around with you.
And I will say that you did mention the fact
it's not.
You mentioned that, and I'll give you that. But
it's Need for Speed.
Madden, you know what?
And Need for Speed is excellent
for what it is. You're right.
It's just licensed.
Once you classify it,
it's just Need for Speed. It's not Forza. It's not Gran Turismo.
Need for Speed. Need for Speed
is legit though.
Old Need for Speed, like
Need for Speed
Underground. Need for Speed Underground was clean.
Need for Speed is fun.
It's repetitive. It gets dull as fuck. Fast as shit.
The new Need for Speed.
It's fun if you play the trial and the first intro for the first 2 hours.
But if you and 20 of your homeboys was driving together, you play it year round.
We wouldn't plus the play button. We wouldn't open the app.
Need for Speed is a bad example only because
you come over, we are not playing Need for Speed.
You're gonna take
Need for Speed playing Need for Speed.
Need for Speed is a bad example because their arcade Forza Horizon is way better than Need for Speed.
Okay,
so we're not even, and that's in
when you look at Need for Speed is what it is. It's just a racing game. It's not a racing simulator where you try to change the parts and try to get a lighter flywheel and a hood and shit. Like you're not doing all of that.
For the sake of arcade racers, it's still not the best one because Forza Horizon is the best arcade racer. Yeah. So, but again, my point is, Madden is an excellent arcade football game because you think about the stuff that they've done, right? They don't. Nothing in it really functions as it should simulation wise.
Right.
Some of the stuff works, and it's like, oh, okay, that was kind of cool. But what do we say about Madden? I realized this especially after playing this game against Courtney last night, where I'm able to stand at the goal line and throw an 80-yard pass in the air with Patrick Mahomes. So we're playing on all Madden. We're playing on all Madden. His X Factor is initiated. There's pressure coming. I drop back. I'm standing on the goal line. No lie. Getting pressure. And I just throw it. Because I know Tyreek Hill's on a fly. I
really wish you would have recorded that.
I throw it up. It goes in the air 80 yards. He catches it at like the 20 and gets tackled at the 19. There was no yak. So after that moment, and then I started to think about the X Factors themselves, these are all things that are designed for arcade games.
Yep.
They're just arcade stuff.
Yeah, it's just like 2K. Just like NBA 2K.
Well, 2K is designed to be a simulation. NBA Live is probably designed to be an arcade game. So again, if you want to classify NBA Live as an arcade game, again,
it's excellent.
NBA Live is excellent.
Excellent.
So once we start to reclassify these games properly, but again, this is EA's fault because EA has this shit can't go both ways. You can't tell me that your sports games are designed to be simulation like FIFA. FIFA is a simulation soccer
game. That is a simulation.
So you can't do it. You can't give me both ways. You can't say, oh, well, we have simulation sports. You don't have, you have simulation. Some of your stuff is simulation. FIFA is simulation. NHL, I don't know if anybody's even really playing NHL, checking for NHL like that anymore. I don't even know.
Casually,
NHL simulation anymore?
No,
I play, but casually, but I play.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it might still be simulation. Yeah.
So NHL.
But then you switch it over to
They put a black player on the cover this year.
Madden
Just
and NBA Live, they're arcade games. And more so, and even deeper into that point, for me, proof that NBA Live and Madden are arcade games is why EA has no reason to bring back NBA Street or NFL Street.
True.
Because if they thought and if they designed Madden and NBA Live to be simulators, they would offset it with their own brand arcade games. But they don't have to because Live and Madden are already arcade games. So they don't need to bring back NBA Street. They don't need to bring back NFL Street because you're kind of already getting that. You're getting you Madden X Factors, superstar abilities, MUT, fantasy drafts. Like, that's the appealing parts of the Madden gameplay. Arcade. We're not playing it to have fun for simulation anymore. We're just playing it to have fun and be like, yo, just drive back and jump Pat Mahomes, throw the shit 60 yards. Fuck it. Like, that's where we've gotten to. And for everything that Madden does as an arcade football game, it's excellent.
So then make it fucking one button across the board. Don't give me an option for simulation if it's gonna be an arcade game.
Hey,
yeah, I get that though. And that's the point.
Don't make it. Don't give me the idea that it's going to be as close to simulated football as possible.
To that point,
give me an arcade product.
To that point,
fucking $45, $50, $60, $80 to fucking get.
To that point, though, I will say this: to that point, NFL Street did have a lot of intricacies about how you functioned. Like, you had to press the one joint to activate your one thing, and you do a trick thing to jump off the wall, and like, you know, it wasn't one button. Like, you had to do a lot of shit to make shit happen. In NFL Street, so it could be technologically complicated, but still be an arcade game. But to your point, I agree. Don't market it as simulation. And I think that's EA's fault, because if EA marketed Madden properly, people wouldn't be upset. If they marketed Madden as an arcade football, and now I'm not even mad at the product itself anymore. Now I'm more mad at EA, because advertising. If you marketed Madden, don't market Madden as a simulation football. Market Madden as arcade football, and we're good. I'm not even gonna hold nothing in the, because at that point, nothing in the game is wrong.
Supposed to be, yeah.
That I don't get.
Except for the price point.
First of all, hold on.
It's gonna be arcade.
So first of all, I just want to say this. I'm really upset that you didn't say this in front of Aaron.
Hold on. This ain't over. This ain't over.
Aaron the same reaction I'm having right now.
I'm not happy with this opinion. I'm not happy with this opinion at all. So I will play devil's advocate the entire time.
Yeah, look, we need to bring this up again, but yeah, I like that point.
We definitely need to have this conversation more
because Madden and simulation football.
This is what I was saying, and you're like, Madden police.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you are the Madden police.
Yeah,
but Madden.
I'm like, it's just a video game.
Well, the problem is that they market it as simulation. So don't market.
Do they say Madden 20 football simulator, or just say Madden 20 on the cover?
They'll never put that on the box.
Look,
they marketed this game as a simulation. Let's not.
Each year,
the greatest simulation football experience.
The one thing they say about Madden and all of their marketing every single year, the thing they put emphasis on is that it's action. It's an action sports game.
We're gonna have to.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring this up. We're
gonna have to look up receipts on that. But I think, again, don't try to market it as simulation, because you're the only NFL product out there. That's the problem that EA's run into. They've dug their own hole with this because they're the only company that can make NFL licensed games. They have to market it as simulation. Otherwise, the NFL's coming for that ass. You can't market it as this crazy off the wall arcade game because the NFL's gonna go, whoa, hold on, player. We didn't. That's not our product. That's not what we paid you to put out. So
I feel like NFL need to do it anyway. Apply pressure to their ass. Let 2K make another game and see what you want to do. I think it's that time.
It is that time. It is that time because two things can exist in both worlds. You can get simulation football because people want simulation football. Look, there's people that want to play Forza. What are we up to? 7?
I'm about to say I play Motorsport and I don't play Horizon.
There are people that want to play Motorsport, and there's some people that want to play Horizon. I don't want to play Motorsport. Frankly,
I love Motorsport.
I'd rather play Horizon because I ain't got time for Motorsport. I just don't have the patience. I just want to jump in and I just want to do some crazy shit, whatever. I don't have time for, I don't have time to go through the intricacies of car. I'm not into cars like that. I just want the shit to look pretty colors and rims and fast and like
and rims. And
I don't care about brakes and wheel ratios and transmissions. I don't care about none of that shit. Just let me get the car and how fast does it go, and let me put some rims on it and some spoilers, and let me open up all the doors and look at the inside. Like I'm a kid when it comes to racing games. Like I don't give a shit about none of that other stuff. Like that, and but like I said, there's people that want to play Motorsport. There's people that want to play for Horizon, and that's the same thing that's true for sports games. There are people that want simulation. There's people that want arcades. There's people that want to play NBA Jam. There's people that want to play NBA Live, referencing 20 years ago. Yeah. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can have it both ways. And the problem is that EA dug their own hole with this. And yes, they're making money, and yes, whatever. But people they're not making the same money on Madden that they were making 10 years ago, or they're making 6 years ago.
You might want to look up the microtransactions before we go into that conversation.
Well, we're not talking about microtransactions. I'm talking about
game sales.
Right. I'm talking about sales of the game. People that
stockholders don't care about sales.
Buy the game.
They do.
Hey, you sleepy. You don't think that.
Sleep.
Stockholders see that bottom line. They're like,
because as soon as
ask Epic Games if stockholders care about game sales.
Go there. As soon as they drop this loot box fucking gambling shit, all them shits is done. All of them are gone.
Finished. You can hang on.
There's a lot of money moving around with that, man. We don't know if it's gonna be here or not, and we don't know if that's gonna pass.
All that shit is going to be gone. That's how fast it can go. The only thing that is current and that will stay is the actual sale of the game.
Right. That's all that matters. That's all that
especially the way EA is playing with their microtransactions. Especially the stuff that happened with Battlefront 2 and Disney. One of the biggest power players.
The craziest thing is that this is EA's fault again. They started this again. They're digging their own hole again.
You reap what you sow, young.
Hey, hold on. So
the loot box is about to be gone in the first place. It was fine. Overwatch had it perfect. They won't get
digging their own hole.
They was good.
That's one thing. The
Overwatch, wow.
Issues.
It was good.
NFL don't want you causing them financial problems.
They don't want you sending them to no extra legal meetings for nothing.
Look, Therese,
especially with Disney.
That's good shit. That's good shit, man. That's
not Disney.
No, that's a fact.
Because they own ESPN.
So now that I understand,
fuck Madden
for what it is.
Yo, if you say it like that, then the Saints ain't winning no Super Bowl for a long time.
That's to the point that when we play our franchise,
we're talking about that.
Keep the X factors on, bro. Because let's be honest, like
turn them shits off.
Turn them off.
All the way off. Hell no.
Keep the X factors on because guess what?
Bro.
Get out. It kind of breaks the way the game is designed. It's designed as an arcade game.
You're not slick.
Keep them holes on.
You're not slick.
Keep them jokers on, bro.
Wait till y'all
because guess what?
At 90 y'all
because guess what?
Thrown on y'all head by Patrick Mahomes.
Because as cheesy as the X factors are,
I wish y'all recorded that game.
What I've been telling people,
I got it.
Is that
you got the clip?
Oh, we recorded it.
I got it.
And what people haven't realized is that the superstar traits are worse than the X factors, bro. Because those 5 superstar traits that Tom Brady has, and like 3 of them are exclusive
to him,
make him
unstoppable,
bro. One of them is like a master hot route joint. he can pull up 4 additional hot routes and nobody else can do it. It's exclusive to Brady. He gets extra time, like in the pocket. His protection,
his offensive lineman block better.
His offensive lineman blocks better because of some superstar trait that he has. So let's not, and then you can't turn those off. So
Aaron Rodgers, man.
Aaron Rodgers. Like, that is so look, and it's so crazy because you blew my mind with that after I think about it. I'm like, it makes perfect sense. It really does.
It's an arcade game. I'm good. Keep the X Factors on. Let's just roll.
I'm stressed.
Let's just roll with it.
I'm really stressed.
Now you get it.
I'm stressed too. I'm like, wow. Like, oh my god.
We're on the same team.
No, never.
And that's how.
So then we gotta do a draft. We gotta do a draft. You can't just pick your team. You gotta do a draft.
I'm good with that too.
I walked right into it.
Once I came to this realization, that's why
I was saying we should draft. See, people. All right, everybody keeps going. Oh, if C says it's wrong. Or if you agree with C, you're automatically wrong. But now you want to talk about, let's draft. Every damn year, the last 3 years, I'm like, we should draft. Y'all like, nah, that's not realistic.
Not right now. Not before.
Then Dad want to argue with me about throwing motions. How you can change throw motions by changing the animation. I'm like, bro, it's just a video game. All of y'all keep coming at me with the same nonsense, and I keep telling y'all the same thing. Bro, it's just a video game. If I want to draft Lamar Jackson in round 1, and I want to draft Alvin Kamara in round 2, then I want Alvin Kamara catching passes.
I bet.
Lamar Jackson.
Let me just get Pat Mahomes and we good.
Nah, you're not getting him. I'm getting him.
Give me Tom Brady for just 2 seasons. We're winning 2
right.
seasons.
Exactly.
He might play till 45 the way he got this going.
If you have Brady, clearly it's not going to matter who your offensive line is.
I'm going to say, hold on. I'm going to say this because the league that we was playing in last year, Lance, you had a little bit of an early exit because you wasn't really feeling Madden last year. But Aaron Rodgers in that league played till he was like 43, 44 years old.
Trust me, I know.
He was a journeyman. He caught like 7, 8 mil his last year. He still was catching 7, 8 mil a year.
I know.
He was like an 86, 87 overall. He was 43 years old.
Yeah, I don't think the game is gonna function like that anymore. Like, I think it's plus the rating scaling should help.
So here's the thing, right? When we start playing our franchise, right? This is before roster updates. This is before patch updates. This is before all of that. That we're uploading these rosters. Like, the roster is a file that you're uploading into your league, into your cloud league. Yeah, so that file doesn't change just because there's a game update or anything. That's why everybody, you would get a patch or a roster update, and everybody's rosters in the league would change back to whatever it is now. But they have to separate that roster file. So because they do that, so if we start now and they haven't changed that at all, and nobody's complaining about it, Tom Brady might play till he's 47. We don't know. If you win, you putting up 10, 11 a season. We don't know. It's just a video game. See, y'all keep thinking about the realism. I'm like, it's just a video game.
Yeah, but that's what that's my point. That's the point that I was making the whole time. That's what I'm looking for Madden. But now if I block that out and say I'm not gonna get that,
block it out.
I'm like, I'm not gonna get it. I'll have fun with it for what it is.
It's an arcade game.
That's it.
Let's get on there. Keep the X Factors on. Let's draft. I'm for all of that.
Me too.
Because at this point now, especially with these trades, I want who I want.
But
just draft who you want to draft. Here's the thing, right? If you properly draft your team, you're really not going to make any trades.
I'm gonna have 8, 9 X Factor niggas.
On me. What running back got the trait where it make your O-line run block better when you run the ball?
Probably Zeke or some shit. I don't know.
Zeke and Tom, and we going to the.
I have my X Factor now.
It don't matter what receivers we got out there.
AB X Factor wins all run after catch one-on-one coverages. He win them shit. All of them.
Just give me that.
Just if it's a run after catch, he one-on-one.
And DeAndre Hopkins, bro.
Did you pick Houston?
He don't even need the X Factor on to win double team. Like,
who did you pick, man? Who did you pick?
What in the game we played?
He was with the Chiefs.
I played the Chiefs.
He had the Chiefs. I had the Eagles.
Pat Mahomes. If you get his X Factor activated,
Just throw
You
it.
throwing 80 yards,
Just
bro.
throw it. You can throw it 80 yards.
So if you get Pat Mahomes, you just draft all the fastest people that you can get your hands
on.
That's
it. Yeah.
That's it.
You just build your team like the Chiefs did.
Give me all of them.
Don't worry about
gotta be that good.
Don't worry about defense later.
Ah, man, just get Pat and just get him in the zone. Get him in the zone and just throw it up. Whoever's playing you is gonna have to play cover 9, cloud, prevent.
They're gonna be on
2 pass rushers and a QB spy, just like how I used to 2 years ago, and they banned it. Y'all banned it.
Drop back and run with Mahomes because he got that stupid escapability joint, and he's super quick in the pocket. And the next thing you know, he's 15 yards downfield. You can't do nothing about it. And then
out here trying to outrun defensive linemen with Carson Wentz and shit.
Running back.
Shit that I'm talking about, man. This is literally the shit that I'm talking about.
Big mad.
Hey, I'm ready for Madden 20 franchise. Garbage. Madden 20 is the best arcade football game ever.
Wow. Outside of Tecmo, man? Wow.
No, Tecmo Bowl. Tecmo Bowl is still the best football game ever, period. Tecmo Super Bowl. Not just regular Tecmo Bowl, because regular Tecmo Bowl is kind of trash.
That was trash.
Tecmo Super Bowl? Bruh.
Fire.
There's a reason why they still update that game every year. They got new rosters on a Tecmo Bowl, Tecmo Super Bowl. I think it's TecmoBowl.org. They update rosters every year, and you can download the file to play it on your NES emulator. And they have like online leagues and shit like that for a game that came out like
88, 89.
20-something years ago.
Yeah.
Like crazy. And that just goes to show you how nasty that game is and how well that game holds up. Like I'll pop that joint on right now. And that's one of the games me and Courtney are going to play when we start up our little, I haven't figured out a name for it, but once we start playing our games and recording videos for it.
It's going to be Flash and Dash.
Oh, that's genius.
Hot one. That's a hot one.
And that's copyrighted. So,
wow.
Pretty at first.
Oh, I'm slick jealous. Oh,
it has a name. So,
hey, what's up, bro?
And that's what it's going to be. We're going to play games. We're going to play old school games. We're going to play co-op games. We're going to play new. I want to do something with compare games. We play like an old Tecmo Super Bowl, compare it to Madden, compare it to 2K5, whatever we can get our hands on that we can play. All the best, kind of games that were kind of the era. Go back and play some of those old school fighting games compared to like new Mortal Kombat. Go back and just jump and play like Street Fighter 2 Turbo and then be like, all right, well, let's. Oh, you're gonna get washed.
Hey, washed. Hey, if y'all be doing all that, man, we need to. We need to put.
You must have forgot Mortal Kombat X. And
you must have forgotten
those Jax L's.
Hold on, look, hold on. I mean, if y'all.
I need receipts.
If y'all looking to get if y'all looking to get competitive in like modern like MK and Street Fighter, hey, Dash, don't sleep. Add Spiegel, man. Spiegel is elite at all fighting games. I don't know how good he is compared to Reed, but definitely got a lot of experience. He buys all of them every year. You said what?
We could play, like I said, we could do this. We got the newer racing games, and then we got the throwback joints. There's plenty of old school NES racers that it's like that were dope, and them old school racers, and it's like compare that to
Gran
now.
Turismo. Oh, that's Sony. Look.
Gran Turismo, we gotta get a PS4.
Mario, do the Mario Kart comparisons. Go through the NES Mario Kart versus the new one.
Nothing's beating Super Nintendo Mario Kart,
bro.
They don't even understand the pace of that game. That game was ahead of its time.
It was crazy. Mario 64.
Mario 64 was mad decent.
Mario 64.
Mad
Mario Kart 64.
That's what I got for it.
But this is gonna be a thing, and that's like I said.
That.
Madden is what it is. So we're gonna be ready, and like I said, I'm ready for franchise. I'm ready for a draft, and I'm ready
to draft, man. Saturday is draft.
Not
Saturday.
I'm a block.
I need a top 5 pick. I'm cutting that hoe off.
and I hoop.
Hey, Big Ben's. There are a couple quarterbacks that got only the quarterbacks have like 5 superstar traits. There's like Brady, Roethlisberger has 5. I think Breeze has 5.
Oh,
top tier, man.
Wow.
Rodgers, I think, has like 3 superstar traits.
What?
Mahomes has like 4.
So let me tell you about Rodgers real quick. Rodgers has this trait called gambler.
The X factor, his X factor.
His X factor. He can throw a pass with 0 risk of interception.
From AI defender. So if you play in a computer, or if you're playing somebody that doesn't switch over,
just throw it up.
If they don't switch over,
even if it touches both hands, it's gonna be a bad away.
And if he simulate, and if he's in the zone, your guy is not winning.
Greatest arcade football game of all time.
Right. Fact.
How many times we watched Aaron Rodgers on a free play?
Well, I mean,
how many times we've seen Aaron Rodgers win games on a free play?
Yeah. You're not wrong. I ain't gonna hold you.
No.
That little fake snap he does, and then just
all right, man.
He starts hitting the sideline and just.
All right, man. Look, I gotta get up out of here, but to summarize my point, Zeke, get your money. Madden is the best arcade football game of all time.
See? And we're gonna spread the narrative.
And there's plenty of money out here for these kids that are playing these games. Parents, stop bullying your kids into not playing these video games, man. If that's what they enjoy and love to do, let them get their money too. Damn.
Right. Facts. And I think that's a great point to kind of close it out. And it's those all good points, and those are points that I think we're all on the same page with that stuff. And that's kind of it. We're gonna wrap up this this Sports Gaming Anonymous podcast.
Turn into a long one.
Appreciate it, fellas. I've been joined by, we lost Jordan, but we finished out here with Courtney, Lance, C. Appreciate it, fellas. My name is Omri, aka No, it's not Henry, aka Ree, aka Flash Extreme, no E in front of the X. Gamer tag for pretty much everything. It's consistent though, because I can get it all the way across the board. It's a beautiful thing. Xbox, all that stuff. So thank you, fellas. We're gonna close it out. Catch y'all in the next SGA podcast.
Deuces.